Everybody knew everything that was going on. We knew every single check. We knew every single look from the Panthers. I watched from preseason game all the way to the Super Bowl, so I seen everything that they did, and they never changed. Never changed. They was like, hey, we got Cam Newton, we got these guys up front, and we're going to just bulldoze you and we're going to win. And they were a cocky bunch that believed that it didn't matter who they faced, they could dominate, and that wasn't going to work versus us.
Hello, and thank you for joining us here on Broncos and Bourbon. I am your host, Phil Milani. Very excited for today's episode as former Broncos great Chris Harris Jr. joins the program. And it's alumni weekend for the Broncos this weekend as they welcome in the New York Giants. So I figured it was fitting to have Chris be on the program this week. We talk about this year's Broncos team, Bo Nix development, and this defense and the way that they're playing back-to-back weeks with the Defensive Player of the Week in the AFC, Nick Benito, followed up by Jonathan Cooper this weekend. The sacks are continuing to pour in for the Broncos and this defense. So it's only fitting to ask Chris about how this year's defense compares to that Super Bowl 50 defense. A very similar formula there. A lot of sacks up front, guys who can get after the quarterback, and then a very, very stout secondary, the no-fly zone, and then obviously this year's version with Pat Surtain, Riley Moss, Hufanga back there. I mean, this defense is loaded, and Vance Joseph seems to be pressing all the right buttons. So we get into all of that with Chris. And then, of course, we look back at that Super Bowl 50 year and that run that they had. And a lot of good talk about Demaryius Thomas, too, as he gets his name put up there in the rafters, joining the Broncos Ring of Fame this weekend. So a really good episode. I hope that you enjoy it. If you do, please like and subscribe as we continue to grow this Broncos and Bourbon channel. So with that, here is my conversation with former Broncos great cornerback, Chris Harris Jr. Chris, thanks so much for taking some time here to hop on the program. How you been, man?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me. It's always fun to join you on your program and, connect back with my Denver people.
Oh, yeah, of course, man. Well, yeah. I was going to ask you, starting off here, what do you see from this Broncos team? They're 4-2 right now, some highs, some lows. What are you seeing from this squad?
Very close to me and, just adding a little bit more discipline, more, playing with smart and better situations. This team could be undefeated. And they're very close. I think the offense we still have the ways to improve and be consistent every week. Defense is continuing to get better as the season goes on. And, the real football starts at the end of this month and going into November. So that's when you want to play your best football. And right now, that's a good start to come off the Jets game and then let's keep that streak going. Because this is a time period when you want to start, stacking up games.
Yeah, what is the key to kind of getting on a roll like that? Because I remember those great teams that you were a part of, so consistent. Like every week you just knew you were going to line up and get the win. This team though, it's like you never know what you're going to get every week.
Yeah, it's just being consistent in your preparation. We were dialed in every week of just knowing our opponent. Respecting your opponent regardless who you play, and so when you do that, then you're gonna usually go out there and give it your all. And then also, man, the AFC back then was so tight that you couldn't afford to have bad losses like that. So it could be that same situation this year. They can't afford to have any more bad losses, any games that they shouldn't. They should dominate and then come up with a loss. They shouldn't have that anymore. So all they have to do is really just be consistent every week and just take your opponent serious and have that respect for
them. What are you seeing from Bo Nix this year? Have you seen improvement from year one to year two?
Yeah, I've seen some improvement. Definitely him is throwing across the middle, over the middle, short passes. His deep passes, I just think he just needs the little touch. Payton and them guys had even the top quarterbacks, they had a knack for just being able to just put it right here in your chest on 90% of your deep balls, So if I would say what Bo is right now, he's throwing it a little bit too hard, If he just adds just a little bit touch on there, take it off, take a little bit off of the power, and then he should be able to connect more with these guys. So that's my only thing I'd say is just a little bit of overthrows. Other than that, he can clean that up and be able to have a finish and have a strong season.
You like the fire and the intensity that he plays with. Like, you think that's something that
Yeah.
the rest of the team sort of feeds off of that, because it seems like he's out there always playing with an edge.
Oh yeah, yeah, and you can tell he's connected to everybody. He's connected to the defense. He's connected to all the players on the team. Everybody likes him. Everybody respects him. So when you have that, you have a great chance of winning in a lot of games, especially in the NFL. Because if guys don't believe in your quarterback, it's hard to win. So they trust this guy. You can clearly see they believe in him and what he can do. And when you have that, you have a chance to win every game.
If you were playing against him and you had to defend against him, how would you go about trying to attack Bo Nix?
I would try to probably make Bo throw outside the numbers and throw deep. So that was kind of how I would make him do. I'd make him kind of prove to me that he can throw outside the numbers and throw deep. Try to do whatever I can to keep him in the pocket. I know Sean Payton likes to do sprint outs, rollouts, especially to the right. Eliminate that. I don't want to give up the whole game plan.
Okay, okay.
You're
All
asking
right.
me. Don't ask me that.
Okay,
'Cause
okay.
I don't want to give it out to what I would do, 'cause,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. See, okay, I see. I see. Nobody else is watching this from
yeah.
the Giants. Okay, good. What is it about Sean Payton though that makes him a hard coach to scheme up against? Because
Yeah.
it does seem like every game there's a few plays where a guy's just wide open.
Yeah. I mean, he's a mastermind with that, and that's why I think fans and people kind of get mad when we don't score a lot because, he's always been a guy that's always put up a lot of points. And when we used to play him with Drew Brees, I mean, that offense was unstoppable, being able to have guys all over the field. And, he doesn't really have those same type of weapons that he had with the Saints, he does with Colston. You could say Colston is like a Cortland.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to get the running game because he had a Kamara, he had a Darren Sproles. We don't really have a Sproles like that, they or Jimmy Graham, 6'6", 6'7" tight end. It's just hard to it's hard to compare that offense with this offense. So it's kind of revamped the offense. He has to make it new, and I think they are getting better, but the run game especially. But we just got to just continue to be more consistent. I just think the first half we looked great last weekend, and second half it was like a whole new offense. So just being consistent, being able to bring those two halves together.
It does seem like maybe Cortland Sutton has developed into like a number one guy for Bo Nix in this
Yeah.
offense. What do you remember from when he showed up in Denver, like that rookie year? Did you think like, hey, this guy's got a shot to be pretty good?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think Cortland came in right out the gate and made an impact on the team. So he was a guy you thought was definitely. I think he dropped to second round. Was Cortland a second round pick?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I never understood why he even went second round. It really didn't make any sense, even if you look at the receivers in his class. I'm pretty sure Cortland's up there with those guys, or might have passed those guys. I can't remember. I got to go back and look at him, but he's having a hell of a career, and he's being very consistent every week and being a great leader. So I'm definitely glad that he's still here. And Cortland is always a hard worker. You can never say he wasn't working hard. So. Just to have him out there and just laying the foundation for the young boys is definitely great.
Yeah, he's got that huge frame, that big body. How have you seen him though improve? Like maybe is his route running, his footwork, like those types of
Yeah.
things that's grown over the course of his career?
Oh, his releases, at first, Cortland was, very high and stiff off getting off the ball. Now he can get off the ball on any type of corner. He's able to sit down and break down and run routes. His routes just got better. So that's the main thing I would say. When I was facing him younger, I could press him pretty easy. But now, you can see that he's able to get off press. He's able to, run the whole route tree. And, of course, he always had the deep ball catching and the
Yeah.
50-50 balls. He's always had that.
Yeah. When you watch the game, I'm curious now, when you watch football on TV, are you watching the outside guys, or are you watching a game just like how I would watch it? Like, how do you watch football these days?
Watching definitely the defense, how the schemes and different play calls, and what would I call 'em? Kind of like a coach, kind of. That's kind of how I watch the games. If it's the Chiefs, it really depends on who I'm watching.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
somebody I
Like some
don't
guys
like,
who are
then I'll just
interesting.
like,
Some teams are more interesting, huh?
yeah, yeah, yeah. If I really like a defense, like a Brian Flores or Vance.
Yep.
Trying to think of some other guys. I like Rob Saleh. I like the 49ers system, their scheme. I played that six scheme with the Chargers, so I know that scheme also. So being able to play that scheme, play Wade Phillips, watch Fangio, see what he's doing. These are all coaches that I kind of know their system. Like,
Mhm.
so it's good for me to kind of watch the game, watch their system, see if they're putting anything new or whatever. Because I have all their systems. I have it like on PDFs or I have
Yeah,
all their
yeah.
columns. So just being able to just watch the game that way, see how I would attack their offenses that they're facing. That's kind of like I like to do. It's kind of like practice for me.
How has defensive football changed the last couple of years since you've been done playing?
I wouldn't say it hadn't changed too much.
Huh.
The schemes have pretty much stayed very similar. You might see a couple new things. It's a lot of split coverages. Somebody might play cover three on this side, cover two, which we're already doing that. So it's hard to say anything's new out there. And from training my guys, training my corners, and then looking at their playbooks and stuff like that, and it's the same stuff.
Yeah,
So it
yeah. It
hasn't
just
really
goes
changed.
comes back around every once in a while.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
offenses have changed, which adding more RPOs, more formations, and Detroit continued to push the envelope with the rules and things like that. The offenses have continued to evolve, but defenses, it's the same thing, man. You got to have the same. You got to have some rushers and you got to have some corners.
It seems like playing DB though is a little bit tougher now because like any kind of like underthrown ball, boom, that's PI. Any kind of
Yeah.
like weighted like get the ball moving, gets more points on the board. Seems like the NFL is really geared toward making it tougher on these DBs.
Yeah, and that kind of started, with my era, kind of the beginning of that era. We were kind of the era that could hit, and then they slowly faded us out to where we couldn't hit. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, yeah. Some of these rough in the passer calls, I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
So now it's
Like,
like to the point to where now they can't hit at all, and you got to be very careful on how you hit the quarterback. So
yeah, and the
that was
kickoff rules too, man. It seems like
kickoff.
offenses are like at midfield all of a sudden.
Right. Kickoff rules. That's the thing. That's what will change. Just the physical contact. It's not as physical as it was when I played. Right. It was um, a lot more contact all the way around. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah. Well, this Broncos defense is still finding a way to get this thing done.
Yeah.
What have you thought about Nick Bonito? I mean, how in the world has this guy gone from, hey, the first couple of years, you're wondering if it's going to click, and then all of a sudden, he's one of the best in the league right now.
Yeah. Just seeing his growth, and he has a great takeoff off the ball. He's able to go speed to power. And these tackles can't even get out their stance before he's passed them sometimes. And when you have that speed, I think that's what gets the tackles. They hate guys that can get off the ball fast, and he has a great knack of doing that. Great timing, kind of like Vaughn and D. Ware and Micah Parsons. All these guys, great pass rushers, have a great sense of being able to get off the ball pretty fast, and he has that. And also, he can cover and he can drop. He can do everything. So, right now, he's the front runner of my defensive player of the year.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
That whole D line is like really getting after quarterback, lead the
all of them.
league, by 10 sacks to the second closest team. I heard this week Keep Talib kind of compared it to the pass rushers that y'all had with the Super Bowl 50 defense.
Yeah.
Is it feel similar to you there?
Yeah, no, no, for real. It definitely might. It could it has a chance to be even better. When you have the edge, they have three edge rushers too. But inside, we had great inside rushers, but their inside rushers they can rotate four.
Yeah.
In the inside pass rushers. So they could definitely be better for sure.
Wow. I don't like comparing defenses to that Super Bowl 50, team just because you guys won the Super Bowl. So it's like hard to really compare. But what do you think this defense does need to do to be in that same class? Or like you said, maybe the entire defense, maybe even a little bit better?
Oh, we scored the ball. Not only did we just get takeaways, we scored. So that was the difference.
Yeah.
That's the difference between us compared to anybody. We every week we had a touchdown almost on defense. Almost. Or we set up something real close to score, or we put the offense in a great situation to score, or we had a lot of takeovers. So I would say that would probably be the difference. And we'd had big takeovers and big key moments all the time. It wasn't just like one game every week almost.
Yeah. It
So
was
that
like
would be,
consistently, you guys were
yeah,
changing the game, the outcome,
yeah,
essentially. Yeah.
yeah. So I would say that would, and the offense had to lean on us a little bit more compared to what I don't know, they had to lean on them the Jets game, but our offense had to lean on us a little bit more, So
Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
would say.
Like I remember that Cleveland game going to overtime. Like, man, you guys like really you saved that game. So
Yeah,
yeah, there was so many examples of that whole year where you guys were stepping up.
yeah.
I wanted to ask you about Vance though, like knowing his system, knowing what kind of coach he is. Like, what do you think about the job that he's been able to do this year? It seems like you never know where that pressure is dialing up from.
Yeah. I mean, he was always a pressure coach and always had a extensive pressure package. And he's using it to his fullest. All those guys are getting sacks. I mean, everybody. He blitzes everybody, which is fun because you never know who's gonna get their name called. Everybody gets a chance to blitz, and that's fun when you play defense. So I see Vance as probably being one of the top guys, probably getting a head coaching job. If there should be some spots out there. And he should definitely get a great opportunity. So he's definitely. Fits this system well. The system fits well for these guys, being able to blitz, being able to, show those double A gaps, then could drop out of that, bring zone, bring man, and he just involved with his guys. I think him being in Denver for this long, he's pretty comfortable now, and
Yeah.
and he's just grown as a D coordinator every year. So I like what he's doing and the packages that he's bringing. And teams haven't figured it out yet. They haven't figured
Yeah.
out where the blitzes are coming. And teams versus when we used to do it, they used to just set back and just run screens or try to run the ball on us on that and during those packages, or the quarterback could just run. So
Yeah.
um, you know teams haven't really figured them out yet.
Yeah, I was surprised Justin Fields didn't really try to run the ball himself that much last week. That seems like
Yeah,
that would sort of be the, counter to having these guys bring pressure from everywhere, but it just never seemed to happen. I
yeah,
was going to ask you though, it does seem like maybe one of the weaknesses is covering the running back coming out of the backfield, some of those wheel routes. They've gotten
yeah.
beat a couple of times there. What makes that so difficult to defend?
Advance the system, linebackers are gonna be man to man on some running backs, and especially when he goes 3rd and 5, third and those tight third down calls. Vance is gonna call man. He's gonna put the linebacker a man on the running back, and it is what it is. Especially if the Broncos are losing, he's gonna call a lot even more man.
Yeah.
So the linebackers got to be able to cover the running backs out the backfield, and we haven't even seen really. We've seen one running back that can really go out the backfield, but you got a lot more to go. So we just gotta. What makes that tough is that there's a lot of space. The guy's coming out of the backfield. Has a two-way go a lot of the times. He's running wheel routes, go routes, out routes, ends. He's doing all types of things. So that's what makes it very hard as a linebacker. And you got to be able to play leverage. And the best guys, can cover and play the runs. So you got to be able to play both if you want to be a starting linebacker in the NFL.
Yeah, that does seem, and there's like a lot of traffic to get outside to
Yeah.
get up going with them. Yeah, this seems tough. Have you watched much of the Giants this year? Jackson Dart
Yeah.
has come in, kind of giving them a boost, and Scatbo, seems like he's kind of like this crazy running back there.
Yeah.
What do you think about this squad?
They're going to try to run the football a lot, especially against Denver. Not, I don't think he's going to take too many chances, but he is going to run though, because the kid, you know, um, that's probably the safest. That's his safest thing to do is run, especially this week. So
Yeah.
I think the Broncos have had a very favorable schedule, right? That's why I kind of say kind of pump the brakes a little bit because Cam Ward, a rookie, Justin Fields not really a thrower, and then now Jackson Dart. So I think Broncos should just dominate this quarterback. He should have another game where they barely get over 200 yards, and that's what it should be. That should be the standard for when you play guys like this, rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah, like maybe let's evaluate this defense after they've played Mahomes a couple times, another time with Herbert. Yeah, like you're going to be going up against some better offenses a little bit later on in the
Yeah.
season.
Like
Let's wait.
our best grade you can go off of them is the Chargers and the Colts,
Yeah, yeah,
right? And Colts are the best team right now in the AFC, the best record. So I don't really, I expect them to dominate. I don't get all hyped when they dominate a Cam Ward or a Justin Fields. Now, when they dominate Patrick Mahomes, now we know it's for real. They
yeah,
dominate a Jared Goff, a Stafford. Who else? Who else is out there that they're gonna have? Josh Allen. I know it's serious now.
yeah.
So that's all I'm looking for. I'm looking for us to see if we're really, really the top-notch defense, which I think they are capable, and they have the guys to do it. But that's when you play the Giants this week. You gotta don't give them any life. Dominate these guys. It should be another performance like the Jets in the Titans game.
Yeah, it should just be like the same, just roll out there and just squash them. That's how it
Yep.
should be. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
In that Colts game, it did seem like Daniels was going after PS2 a little bit. He threw the ball his way.
Yeah.
What have you seen from PS2 this year? I mean, that was sort of the one game that he got targeted a bunch, but it seems like he's back to his normal ways.
You're gonna have games like that, and and especially when you're going against the top receivers and you go against good quarterbacks. Good quarterbacks don't usually shy away too much. You know, they'll take the easy throws, and I think that's what they did with Pat. They just took shallows and took slants and little bang routes that he could just get the ball out fast, and really Pat can't see the ball because it's so bang bang. So I think Pat's still having a great year. As a corner, you're gonna have games where you might give 6 targets or whatever, and he didn't give up a touchdown or he didn't give up 100 yards. So that's still a
Yeah,
good game to a corner.
yeah, yeah.
It
Of
might
course,
not be
no
for
doubt.
you fans,
And
that grade so hard, but Pat is actually having a great year. I haven't seen him give up too many explosives at all or anything, any touchdowns right now. So he's doing his job and what he can. And, Coach Joseph said he's going to make the coverages go towards him. Like, that's what they used to do with me sometimes. They would put hard coverage always away from me and make me do the hard coverage. So they do that. Coach Joseph does that. So when he says that, I understand exactly what he's saying because he's done that with me before. So I understand how Pat is going to have the harder routes. He's going to have harder, everything compared to Riley. Even though Riley gets a lot of targets, most of the coverages that are where Pat has zero help, you can't really tell, but they're pushing a lot of coverage to Moss, and Pat's pretty much on his own.
I see, I see. So like
Uh,
he's putting Pat in situations that it's going to be tough on him, and
yeah,
that's sort of how the whole defense is schemed up is to let
yeah,
Pat be
yeah,
Pat.
yeah. Coach Joseph will do that. Fangio does that a lot. Just certain D coordinators are able to, really kind of scheme the system to where we can kind of give other guys a little bit more help.
Wow, and then you mentioned Riley getting all those targets. It's got to be tough being the other guy out there opposite of
Yeah.
Pat.
Oh man, he just gotta relish it and love it. I mean, all he has to do is go out there and pick off a couple balls, and they'll stop throwing at him. So,
Yep.
um, he gotta take it as it's a good thing. I have a chance to go get interceptions, and he just needs to go make them pay, man.
What do you think about the way that Hafunga's come in here, man? He sort of feels like
Yeah,
he's from that same cut from that same cloth like T.J.
yeah,
Ward.
yeah. I mean, that's exactly how he plays. He's very physical. He's smart. I don't know what the 49ers were thinking letting him go. You don't let a guy like him out the building. So, with his attitude, the way he plays, his toughness, his smarts out there on the field, he's been huge. So that's just a staple guy. to have with Pat that you need. You need a good safety back there with you that that you can really trust and really have that confidence in. We once we got Stu and TJ, it was different, totally different, compared to my younger years, But once
Hmm.
we got those guys, it made it a lot better for me, especially as a corner.
Yeah, yeah. So going over all the pieces here with this Denver team, what do you think? Like, you think they got a shot at the division? Like, is this the year they knock
Yeah.
off the Chiefs? Is there an opening here in the AFC where maybe they could get, make some noise this season?
Yeah, that's the best time to make some noise in the AFC. I think Ravens are down; they haven't been down for a while. The Bills can be beat. Who else we got? Chiefs. We seen what they can be beat this season. Hopefully they don't get hot and go on a run. I think they're going to still be there in the wild card for sure at the least. But it's open, it's wide open. It's a great opportunity to go ahead and take it. The Chargers lost both their corners or both their tackles. It should be Sack City when we play the Chargers. Right,
Yeah,
Herbert, we got to be able to get this guy now. So I think they should be the favorites to win the division if the offense can continue to improve, and we improve on third down situations, offense and defensively. We got a great chance. We got a great chance. So the AFC's wide open. It's hard to say who's a favorite. NFC I can kind of say favorite, but in AFC I can't really say who's the best team. You might have to say the Colts. And do people really trust the Colts right now? I don't know.
are you still nervous about the Chiefs though? Like, there's still something there with them where, hey, as long as Andy Reid, Mahomes, those two are together, you're like, they're going to be a problem.
Yeah, because he's always going to have those guys well coached. They know how to win. It's different when you have guys that know how to win. And when you have a quarterback that is the best, he's a winner. So it's hard to count them out. I would never count them out, really. So as long as
Yeah,
those guys are still there, then they got Rasheed Rice coming. Now
yeah.
they got their offense is like really about to open up. Now they have their number one receiver. He changes the game. So I see the Chiefs getting hot, coming on a roll. But I think they get. I don't know. I think three teams out of this division make the playoffs with
Yeah,
the way it's
yeah,
looking.
the same as last year. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Okay, well, it's the 10th anniversary of Super Bowl 50, man. Can you believe that
Yeah.
it's been 10 years?
Just seeing how fast we were all texting and talking yesterday, man. Just how fast it's gone, and can't wait to see everybody and be able to hang out with everybody. And it's crazy how quick you think it would be, man. It's like just like yesterday, just
Yeah,
like it felt like it was just there yesterday. But just seeing everybody, of course, gonna miss DT and miss Ronnie, those guys. And it's going to be great to see DT go in the rafters. I'm pretty sure that's going to be very emotional for a lot of our guys. But just seeing everybody, our team was a true family from top to bottom, and it's from coaches to players, it's going to be great.
yeah. You guys are still on a group chat. You guys text and stay connected.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We got Super Bowl 50 group chat. We got no flies on group chat too. I think Peyton's in the no flies on group chat. We welcome Peyton into the.
Honorary member, huh?
Yeah, yeah, he's an honorary member.
That's awesome. I love hearing that you guys are still tight, and really close together. You got any good stories that you could share from that week, man? I just
Oh
remember
man.
you guys being so locked in that whole week. The practices at Stanford, and just getting ready for that game. It seemed like there was a vibe about this team that, like, like the confidence, like it just felt right that week.
Yeah, man, it was just it's so many stories. But
Yeah.
one thing I do remember was that I thought was pretty funny. Is that like right before the game, right before we're all going to the state, everybody for some reason is putting on their suit, and everybody walks out to their balcony. So then you go outside, and look on the balcony. It's like, what's going on out here? The security guy is like taking a picture of everybody on the balcony. I forgot his name, man.
The security guard.
One of our security guys.
Yeah,
You
oh,
know,
yeah,
we're
yeah.
taking
He's taking a picture.
Oh man, just so many stories, pranks, Vaughn always doing pranks and Kayvon Webster, the whole team, was just hilarious. I remember in the game, Keith just slamming the guy getting the penalty early.
Yeah,
Everybody
did
like
he tell you he's going to do that? Because he kind of came out with his head on
we all
fire, you know?
we all knew that we call it like our 15 guys. We knew that we're gonna have guys come out and set the tone early, and that's kind of how we always did it all year long. So uh, I wasn't one of those guys, but I did mine kind of in between the lines. I let them do the dirty work.
Yeah, Keith definitely was always like that, man. He always played with that
Malik,
edge.
Danny Trey, we had a full list of guys, that could come in and get it done.
Set the
Uh,
tone, yeah.
yeah, we even let
And,
Shane come in off the bench and do it.
and did you
Yeah,
know like Vaughn had that game in him? Like I remember talking to Akeem. He said like Vaughn was playing music in the locker room before going out there, and you just like he had like a different look in his eye. I mean, that whole playoff run, Vaughn was sort of on a different level there. But you have a feeling like maybe he was going to do
yeah.
something special that day.
Oh yeah, I mean, I felt like everybody was. It
Mhm.
was just the whole week. We already knew we were going to win that game. Especially from practice. It was just everybody knew everything that was going on. We knew every single check. We knew every single look from the Panthers. I've literally watched I watched from preseason game all the way to the Super Bowl. So I seen everything that they did, and they never changed. They
Uh,
never changed, and they just added like a couple wrinkles to something to offense and like add emotion, but they were just never changed. They was like, hey, we got Cam Newton, we got these guys up front, and we're gonna just bulldoze you and we're gonna win. And that philosophy was really probably why we killed them so in the Super Bowl is just because they gave us everything that we looked for and prepared for. It. They didn't change, so it was just they were a cocky bunch that believed that it didn't matter who they faced, they could dominate, and that wasn't going to work versus us.
Yeah, and did you feel that like the life was slowly coming out of them as the game sort of continued to go on because they had just been dominating teams all year long, but once they realized they were in trouble with you guys, like like I remember that fumble late in the game where Cam didn't really reach for it. Like,
Yeah,
did you sense that from those guys?
I didn't sense it. This
Hmm.
Super Bowl, so you don't sense anybody's gonna quit. And then they got Cam Newton. I know for damn sure he's not gonna quit.
Yeah, yeah,
So, I never thought at all that they were gonna be out, and I figured that they were gonna fight to the end because
mm,
they got some dogs too still on their team too. I
yeah,
know Luke Kinkley's not gonna quit.
yeah.
Norm Josh wasn't gonna quit. Norman, those guys are gonna keep fighting. Ted Ginn, all those guys. They had some dogs too, so I know the makeup of those guys. So never in my mind did I ever think they would
Yeah.
fall,
And it
give
went
up.
down to the wire too, sort of,
Yeah,
like it was a one
yeah,
score game right down to the wire. So
yeah.
yeah. Is it crazy that Vaughn is still playing? Like, is it weird that, like, man, somehow he's still out there doing his thing?
Oh no, no, I'm not surprised at all because being the edge rushers, they let those guys play forever.
Mhm.
They if you look at the NFL track record, DNs and O linemen get to play a little bit longer. So if you can still pass rush and still have a chance to get back to the quarterback, they'll find a role for you. And even if it's just a pass rush situation, teams have those positions open. So you can see him playing a couple more years also.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. He's still getting sacks, man. So it's still working. Okay, and then the last one for you here, Chris. DT going up into the rafters. What was your relationship like with
Yeah.
Demarius? And you mentioned that it's going to be emotional. I mean,
Yeah.
what made him just like a special guy?
It's kind of like me and DT grew up together. DT came in the year before me, and then we played our pretty much whole career together. So that's kind of like a big brother right there, and always battled. It was always me and DT down there battling for 8, 9 years. 8 years, and so it was just competitive on the field, and then off the field is just big brother. So it was always love, and I think out of all the receivers, me and DT never got in a fight or anything like that. Just from being competitive and fighting. Usually somebody would try to fight me or get mad at me or whatever. You know, DT just never did. He just
Yeah,
always just battled and we just made each other better and and we go hang out afterwards. Go hang out or do whatever afterwards, and never have any issue. So
Yeah,
um,
that smile, man, that was like an
yeah,
infectious smile. It kind of brought the life to him. And
he
yeah,
loved
what
the
was
same
he
thing
like
we
away
love.
from the field?
Love kids, love doing community service. DT was kind of, you could kind of say, DT's a loner, but not a loner. He
Yeah,
would be with people, but he would kind of be his own, do his own thing too. Um, so that was kind of like DT. He was a guy that never complained, always fought through injuries for the team. So Bronco
yeah,
fans, they don't understand how many injuries DT fought through to play. And you could never tell.
yeah.
You can never tell how much pain he was fighting through to play for us in the Denver. So that's
Hey,
one thing people then that's one tip they probably don't know about him. This guy was definitely a fighter for not only us but everybody.
yeah, he was always going through some sort of little thing, that was he was playing through it.
Yeah,
And he was an amazing athlete too, huh? Man, he could do some things
freak
on the
athlete.
football field.
I mean, huge, strong, fast. Can make those 50-50 balls. Had all the routes. DT was probably one of the best screen receivers.
Yeah,
He'd take a screen all the way. Every time. He had a great percentage of taking those all the way, those tunnel screens. And people don't run them like DT. DT would find it, hit the hole, and be gone.
yeah.
And you don't see that a lot today in today's game. So he was just a dynamic receiver. I don't. I think he has a lot of the records, anyways, in Denver, doesn't he? I know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's right behind Rod Smith and like
Yeah, it's him
receiving
and Rod
record.
Smith,
Yeah,
probably 1 and 2. So
yeah,
it's hard to
yeah,
pass Rod Smith. He had John Elway's whole career.
yeah, exactly.
It's
DT
hard to
was just
pass
waiting
him.
for Peyton to show up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but DT came close, man, and same thing with Ronnie. Ronnie was a great kid, very
yeah,
hungry, fast. Being able, man, when that guy got the ball and he got on the edge, he was gone too.
yeah,
Just sad to see those two guys go at a young age, and
yeah.
with me now, being young and with kids, just try to take advantage of every moment that I can.
Yeah, you got to soak up
Yeah,
this life, Yeah, you
yeah,
only got one time to go through, so you got to make the most of it. So,
yeah,
man, I'm just happy to hear that you guys are all still tight, and it's just fun, kind
yeah,
of reliving that run there, man, because it felt like just such a special time, like
yeah,
even for me, just being around you guys, like it just felt like that was a special time in my life too, So like.
yeah.
It's just,
Oh yeah.
I'm happy to be able to like reminisce and remember those times.
We never gave you you always had time to get footage. You always had some footage.
Yeah, you guys are the best, man. Yeah, great sound bites in the locker room, man. Yeah, it was
Sound
the
bites,
best.
everything.
Yeah, it was the
Yeah,
best. That was a fun team. So many characters, man. Like it was just, yeah, it was
yeah,
awesome. It was the
it
best.
was,
So,
man.
well, hey, Chris, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for
Oh
chatting
yeah,
and going through talking ball. I always feel like you bring like certain X's and O's talking about defense.
yeah,
Obviously, you're going to be a coach someday here, so
yeah.
I always appreciate your perspective and everything that you bring to it.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks,
Yeah.
Chris, man, and give my best to your family.
Yes, sir.
My thanks to Chris Harris Jr. for joining us here, and I thought that was an awesome conversation. Really enjoyed reliving some of those Super Bowl 50 memories. I just remember that year was just so special. Being around that team, so many fun personalities, so many great guys on that team, and it's just fun to kind of relive some of those memories there. Working with the Broncos, I got very close with Chris Harris Jr. I did a lot of different kinds of fun stories with him. I went to Bixby, Oklahoma, where he played high school football. Bixby High School has become one of the best high school football programs in the entire country, a suburb of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I spent a few days down there with Chris and got to see where he grew up and the house he grew up in and stuff. And that was a really a fun story. And then another thing that we did with Chris was we spent a week with him outside of the facility during the season to see what kind of things he does away from the facility to prepare for a game. And that was a really interesting story, just seeing how he continues to break down film, how he continued to rehab his body. Like they put those things over their legs that like it's like an air compression thing, and it helps them recover and blood flow. And Chris was doing everything he possibly could to become a better player, and obviously so smart, just so much film study. And so, I got to know Chris pretty well. And I remember after the Broncos won Super Bowl 50, me and my friend Matt Boyer, if you follow the Broncos, Matt, we took a photo with Chris, and, it's one of my favorite photos, from working with the Broncos. Just after the game, everybody's happy. There's confetti everywhere, and a cool photo with me, Matt, and Chris. So really enjoyed that conversation. So I appreciate that. And some really good memories there too, just talking about DT. And this is going to be an emotional weekend, I think, seeing DT's name go up there in the rafters. So I think that is going to be special as we remember how great DT was, the person DT was, and then also the player that he was. He was just an incredible athlete. I mean, he could do things on a football field. It was incredible. No, I remember one day after practice, he was doing this one drill where he had 2 tennis balls, and he was standing. Wait, let's see. Somebody had the tennis balls. They were standing behind him, and he was literally standing like 2 feet in front of the wall of this wall, right? And the person behind him was throwing the ball, and DT was just reacting as it would come off the wall. He was standing like 2 feet in front of the wall, and he would just boom, go out and grab the ball. He didn't know where the ball was coming, but he was just catching the tennis ball off the wall as someone behind him was throwing it. And I just stood there and watched him do that. And he was just catching. He wasn't dropping any of them. Boom, boom, boom. Like you see those guys do those reflex drills where they grab those things when they drop down. Like DT would have crushed that. I mean, his athletic ability was just off the charts. And then, of course, the guy that DT was, so loving, caring, just a big smile. He was just a special person, and obviously gone way too soon. So, I did not know Ronnie Hillman quite as well, but obviously very sad. Chris brings up Ronnie several times there in the interview. So, it's going to be an emotional weekend getting everybody back together, but also especially remembering DT as his name. Will live on forever there at the stadium and in Broncos history. So a very well-deserved honor for DT. So let's talk about this game against the Giants. I think that the hard thing talking about this Broncos team is the matchups that they have every single week. It's like you don't know what version of the Broncos you're going to get. Are they going to be that fourth quarter team against the Eagles that rallied and came from behind and got the victory? Or are they going to be that team in the second half against the Jets that looked like they didn't know how to play offensive football? And so, you just don't know what you're going to get. I think you know what you're going to get from the Giants. I mean, Jackson Hart has given that team a lot of energy, sort of a youthful enthusiasm that they're playing with right now since they went away from Russell Wilson. It'll be interesting to see if something happens during the course of the game and Russ gets into the game for a little bit, what the fan reaction is going to be like. I had not thought about that until just right now. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. But assuming that Jackson Dart is the guy, he's going to have to figure out a way to deal with this Broncos pressure because they're coming from everywhere. They're going to make a young quarterback really think, okay, where is the pressure coming from? There's guys coming up to the line of scrimmage, and then there's guys dropping off after I snap the ball. Like, what's going to happen there? I think they're going to make Jackson really think. Now, the counter to that is Jackson can just keep the football, use his legs, run with the ball, and I think we're going to see him do that a lot. Certainly a lot more than Justin Fields was. Like, I just don't know what the Jets were doing there on the offensive side of the ball last week. So I think you're going to see a lot of Cam Scappo. That guy is absolutely insane, and I love it. Tearing his shirt off there with Ryan Fitzgerald after the game. I mean, that's just insane stuff. And he brings that sort of insanity to the position, doing the backflips after touchdowns and stuff. You don't want to see that. You don't want to have Cam out there with another 4-touchdown game or whatever he had against the Eagles. So this is a pretty good football team that just beat the Eagles. So uh, I think that they've been rejuvenated, and I think that they've got some talent. So important for the Broncos to start this game off early with some big plays on the defensive side and make the Giants feel like they don't have a shot. And then offensively, maybe get a touchdown or two early in the game and make the Giants play from behind. That's going to make life very difficult for New York. So I think, like Chris said, the Broncos should just come in here and dominate this game, right? The defense is playing really, really well right now at a super elite level. They should not let, just a really run-focused offense be able to do much against them. And then for Bo, I think it's just we got to figure out some consistency here, man. Like, we got to figure out, eliminate penalties that kill them, stay ahead of the chains, move the ball, take some easy plays, I thought that you saw Evan Ingram come to life a little bit against the Jets last week. So maybe continue to use him in the offensive passing game and just get J.K. Dobbins the ball, get Harvey the ball, get them going a little bit more, get back to what was providing success against Cincinnati and when it was happening against Philadelphia. Get back to that. And I really need to see more consistency before you can have a lot of confidence in this Broncos team, right? Like, it can't be that they're in such a tight game where it comes down to possibly another field goal at the end. I don't know what the Jets were doing. They should have kicked a field goal there at the end. The guy made a 58-yard field goal just a couple weeks earlier, but instead they go for 4th down and get sacked again. So it could have been another potential situation there where the Jets are kicking a field goal to win the game there at the very end. And the Broncos just should not be in that situation against a team like the Jets, especially if they want to be a legitimate contender in the AFC. So I think that you're going to have to see more consistency before you can really believe in what's going on here with the Broncos. But I do think that they should be able to bring that, and they should be able to take care of business here against a Giants team that has talent, has some energy, but if you get after them early, I think you can have some success. But if you don't, it could be a scary day. So get after them, take care of business, and I think that Broncos being back home, they really should do that. I expect that the offense is really going to have some success here. So I would predict a 100-yard rushing game. I think Bo settles back in. And I think that maybe the Giants hit on a couple of plays, but really the defense has another big outing. Definitely not 9 sacks again. I might have to eat my words there if they do that because they've been playing so well. But I just don't see Jackson Dart going down the way Justin Fields did. I mean, I think that what happened with the Jets in that situation was just sort of that was a one-timer there. I just think that the Giants, they're going to have a little bit more of a plan coming into this one. So we'll see what happens, but the Broncos should take care of business, especially with alumni being there this weekend with DT going into the Raptors. I expect Cortland Sutton to have a big game. He was close with DT. I mean, I'm expecting an outing here from the Broncos, and sometimes that's what it takes. I remember that Super Bowl 50 year. They were remembering a Broncos Super Bowl team. It's the Super Bowl 32 team here in this poster behind me here. They were around that team that weekend, and the Broncos absolutely came out and destroyed the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football. So sometimes being around greatness like that can fuel you and make you want to be great. And I think that you're going to see some of that come out from the Broncos, especially after a week where they were hearing a lot of stuff about how they didn't play that great against the Jets. I expect them to come out and take care of business in this one. I do apologize. I do not have another bourbon to review here. I some scheduling stuff happened, was not able to get a hold of some stuff that I wanted to. So I do promise next week the bourbon will be back. I apologize. I did have a couple of shout outs I wanted to give here. Number 6, Bugger216 says that they missed the bourbon review last week. So I do apologize. I did tell them that we're going to be back this week and we're not. So I apologize there. And then DROQ7237 says that they're digging the beard here. I want to know what you guys think. Is it time that I lose this thing? Is it silly? Is it like stupid? Or, hey, we're heading into the winter time here, the temperatures are starting to get a little chillier. I'm going to want that beard, right? I'm going to want that thing, right? Let me know what you think. And once again, I apologize. This is Broncos and Bourbon, and I have not 2 weeks in a row here had a bourbon. So I will definitely get back to it next week. Okay. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. My thanks to Chris Harris Jr. again for joining us here on the program. I thought there was a lot of good stuff there. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe to Broncos and Bourbon, continuing to grow this channel. And, I'm hoping to just continue to bring you great guests like this every week, entertaining and informative. I think that's what Chris brings, and hoping to bring that every single week here. Okay, that's going to do it for us. For Broncos and Bourbon, I'm your host, Phil Milani.